Okay, so now we are going to play around with making our own colors and just experimenting. So I want you guys to get your color wheel out and get your colors. You probably have enough paint in the lids, but maybe not. You may want to bring your other little cups around. So the first thing that I want you to do is just try mixing colors with something that maybe you already have on your color wheel. We'll play around. And you will find that if you mix more than 2 colors, you're going to get some sort of weird brown. And I want you guys to make color swatches. Just make little squares and try to watch your brush strokes. And what I mean by that is, if you go like this, it looks really messy and you can see it, so you want to have nice even brush strokes. And these don't have to be perfect little squares, but they can be kind of nice. Now, this color, I don't know if you can really see it in here, but it's a very dark hunter green. So I'm going to experiment by adding a little white to it and lighten it up. And I think I'm going to put this swatch right next to it. And we're just going to put these in a funky, abstract way. Again, watch your brush strokes, make them nice and even, right? And maybe I'm going to play around with this and add a little blue to it. So let me grab a little blue. Let me add a little bit more. And then maybe I'll put this one going this way. So I want you to fill all the space on your paper, but you're going to do it with a bunch of different color swatches. And then when you're done, we're going to let it dry. And it's okay if your little squares touch. But once these dry, we're going to draw little faces on them. And it's going to be this cute little thing. You're going to have to rinse your brush out here and there. Like if I wanted to move into yellows, I'm going to actually add a little yellow to this and play around with it. Let's see what that looks. I think that's not yellow enough. Let's add even more. And then maybe I'll put one here. Yeah. So what you're doing is you're kind of learning that out of a couple of colors, just adding a little bit from each one. Now I've kind of got a yellow green, which is really pretty. Now remember, if you add red to green, you're going to get brown. So let's experiment with that. Let's add a little bit of red to that. And let's see what we get. Yep, we definitely got brown because we know how to mix complements, right? And what you don't want, you probably don't want a bunch of brown on here. So I really do want you guys to play around with colors. So we're going to rinse the brush out a little bit, dry off the water, and I think I'm going to start going with some yellows. Let me take a blob of yellow. I think I'm just going to do just a straight up yellow. I think I got too much paint on my brush. I'm going to put it in here. Oops. Okay. So now I think I'm going to play around. I'm going to add a little red to it. So I'll get a little red on there. Ooh, that's pretty. Not very much yellow in there though. I'm going to add a little bit more. You guys do not have to follow along exactly with me. I'm just kind of giving you an example. So this one made kind of a red-orange. Remember making that on your color wheel? Because it has a lot of red in it and not a ton of yellow. So this is basically you're making colors that were on your color wheel, but now you have a little more freedom. Because like if they don't turn out right, who cares, right? Because we're just making little fun swatches. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. And I think I'll put that one over here. One's a little lighter, not a ton. Let me add a little bit more yellow to it. Sometimes you can mix it right on the paper. I don't recommend that though for this. So I want you guys to make a bunch of like little organic shapes, right? These aren't perfectly geometrical because they don't have any rulers involved, right? And then let's put a red one here. So what we've got here is we've got some cool colors up here and some warm colors here. I think I want to add a little blue to my red and start making some purple. Right, so I'm going to grab some and I'm going to maybe try mixing it right on the paper. I think I need to add a little red. The problem with mixing it on the paper here is you don't want to be too messy with this because we are going to draw little faces on here, which is cool. And then sometimes you'll see the streaks. I can kind of see some red and blue streaks. I even see a little bit of yellow because I have some yellow on my brush. But don't stress. And these can be different shapes and sizes. I'm going to play around and add some white to that, but I'm going to mix it on my palette. See what I get. Right? It's kind of a poopy color, but I like it. It's pretty. It's like a purple. Must have a little too much yellow in it. You know, you mix yellow and purple together and you get brown. And then I added some white to it, but it's kind of pretty. Let's add even more yellow and see what happens. So I'm going to grab some from my lid. Super similar. Let's get even more. So what's going to happen is your lids are going to get really messy like this, and that's okay. At the end, before you put them back on, just go rinse them out. And that way your paint stays nice, but you don't really have to worry about that lid being gross. I use the lids as little paint palettes. Grab my paint from there. That way I'm not contaminating the little container that they came in. Okay, so you guys are going to just continue on. You're going to try to make as many colors as you can, right? And when you're done, we're going to draw little faces on them. And in a minute, I will show you what the finished product looks like.